Hello everyone, welcome to Gosport Railworks. My name is James and today we'll be doing another locomotive review. This time we're doing the Class 03 from Press, and as you can see it's a very little shunting diesel engine. So yeah, I'm quite happy to look at it. But let's get the boring stuff out of the way. Also, if you noticed, I'm actually using my webcam, so a different view, and hopefully it will look a bit better without my hands being in the way as much. So anyway, the product code is 371062. It's a Class 03 diesel shunter with a running number 03066 in BR blue. You can get this in BR green and a couple of other colours if I remember correctly, but I've got BR blue mainly because I can tell it's a Class 03 because it does look very similar to the Class 04. So that's the reason why I got it in a different colour. But before we get onto details, let's have a look at what's inside the box. You do have a detail pack which has many little piping and stuff like that. Not entirely sure what they are, but I'm sure the exploded diagram will explain it. We have the normal warranty, which we won't read. We'll just pop that out of the way. And then we have the exploded diagram and the product information sheet, which says running in, which is now in each direction. It can go around 9-inch curves. Quite sure it can probably do a bit better than that, but 9-inch is the recommended. Body removal, which is 4 screws on the bottom, which is just down the bottom there. Lubrication, basically, if it moves, probably best to oil it. And that's it on the back. And then we have the exploded diagram, which shows, I think it's these little bits on the front here, there and there. I think that's what the little pipes are. That's what it looks like anyway, but always useful to have the exploded diagram. Put that there. And that's pretty much it for the insides. It is a fairly weighty model for its size, but I think that's because it's all metal. So let's just see how much it weighs. And it weighs, I think that's 33 grams exact. I'll have a look at it from here. Yeah, 33 grams exact, which for its size, it's a very weighty model because it's just over a Mark 1 coach, which is about 25 grams. And yeah, it has a fair amount of detail on it. It has got glazing on the windows, which are very easy to look through and see. Not sure if there's any detail inside, but I could be wrong. It has got many separately fitted parts. You've got handrails here, there, pretty much everywhere. I do like the wasp stripes on the front and back, which I'm very happy to say that it's very clearly and neatly painted on. Tamper printing for the I think it's tamper. It is tamper printing for the decals are quite nicely applied. The front looks quite nice as well. I'm just going to turn on another light so you can see, and I'll bring it a bit closer. Still trying to get used to using the webcam, and I have got it a bit further away than normal. Bottom, not much detail, but you won't be looking at the bottom that much. But the not quite the coupling rod, very nicely picked out in yellow. The axles are, I think they're painted, so it's quite nice. Has got NEM pockets at either end. Yeah, it's very nicely done. Grill is, well, grill isn't actually a grill, it's just part of a moulding of the actual metal, but still, it looks nice. I think, I'm assuming it's probably a, yeah, it's a horn, not a whistle, but I do know some diesels do have whistles, but yeah, that's a horn, and it's separately fitted, but I can't tell if it's plastic or not. It might probably be plastic, but it is very nicely painted, so I can't really tell, and I don't really want to do too much of a fiddle with it. And it has got window wipers, so you may be able to pick up on the camera. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it. There is a little bit of riveting where it's meant to be, and also some grills on the side as well. Front buffer is plain. There's a little hook, a dummy of course, and on the back the same. And there is no lighting or directional lighting, as it's a very small locomotive. You can DCC them, however you do need to hardwire it, like with any other small locomotive. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. Yeah, if you want the screws, they are, let me just get something to point with, that will do. Yeah, the screws are right in these corners, one there, one there. These two behind the crank back here, it's going to be very awkward to get to. You may need to spin the motor just to get the crank out the way, but there's one here which is accessible because the crank's out the way. This one is inaccessible because the crank is in the way, so yeah, you may need to get a 9-volt battery to power it up to spin it around. But yeah, that's pretty much it really. We'll have a closer look when we get it onto the turntable, and then we'll get it onto the layout and have a quick look, see how well it runs. So yeah, I've got high hopes it will be able to pull quite a lot because it's very weighty, but it may be there's no track, there's no was it track, you know what I mean, the little tracks and belts on the bottom, so it may have a little bit of a struggle depending on how much it's pulling, but typically it wouldn't be too much. Anyway, let's go on to the turntable and I can tell you a bit more about the prototype, so I'll see you in a bit. British Rail Class 3 locomotive was, together with the similar Class 4 locomotive, was one of British Railway's most successful 060 diesel mechanical shunters. 230 were built at Doncaster and Swindon Works between 1957 and 1962. Like other shunters of this size, the Class A3 was built for light duties where a larger locomotive was not needed, especially for shunting at locomotive and carriage depots and as station pilots, or where larger or heavier locomotives could not be used. The reduction over time in demand for shunting locomotives meant that they were progressively drawn from 1968 onwards, with many being sold to private industry. However, some remained in service much longer, with 2 examples on the Isle of Wight lasting until 1993, where my A-line examples had been gone since 1987. In 1998, one of the Isle of Wight locos was reinstated by the West Anglia Great Northern for service at the Hornsey depot. It was named Clive after a depot employee. It was not fitted with train protection and warning system equipment and thus confined to the depot from 2002. Despite the limited scope for use of such a small locomotive on mainline passenger duties, there are a number of duties rostered to the. During the early 1970s, Southern Region Class A3s worked with Channel Island boat trains through the streets to the harbour along the Weymouth Quay tramway, displacing the last of the 1366 Class 060 pannier tanks. 56 members of the class survive in preservation. Right, here we are, the Class A3, now on my bottom port layout. I have got my test rate of 8 Mark 1 coaches already set up, but let's have a quick look at how well it handles low speed. This is on DC, not DCC, DC, because I haven't DCC'd it, and also it mentioned the price. It is roughly about 110 from what I've seen. You might be able to get it a bit cheaper, but 110 is the average which I've seen still about. And the other liveries which you can get it is BR green, and there's also a white one which is you can pre-order. Not too much about that, but I wanted mine in blue. Anyway, let's see how fast it goes. Also mentioned that my track is still needs to be cleaned, but try that again. Let's have a. There we go. As always, every time I record, they find the small dirt spot. That seems quite right. Yeah, that seems not too bad. Anyway, let's now see it go round. I'll give it a bit of speed. Make sure it is sat on there properly. It is sat on there properly. And give it a bit of speed so it goes round, and so that we're not waiting all day. Make sure my camera stays in focus. There it is. Ooh, and it's found. Oh, there we go. After a bit of more cleaning, I'll see. Every time I record, it finds a mucky spot. But I did recently put third rail on, so third rail on my layout, so it still needs a lot of cleaning. Hoping the outside track is a lot better. Right, just going to put it to a stop. Ooh, I said stop. Right, I'll pop you on the outside track, which I'm hoping is cleaner, and couple up 8 Mark 1s. There we go. Right, 8 Mark 1s is 200 grams, give or take a little bit, and the Class 3 is, if I remember right, it's about 33 grams on the dot. So let's see how well it pulls 200 grams, which is, I want to say it's about 1.5, it's not 1.5, I'm trying to do maths in my head now. It's not quite 10 times its own weight, but it's, let's say 7 times its own weight, something like that. But, as you can see, it has no issues. Just going to give it a bit of speed because it will have to go up a slight incline. Let's watch the coaches. Bit of slowing, it sounds like. Yeah, it's a bit of slowing. Yeah, this might be a bit too much for it, but it can do it. A bit more speed. Yeah, it seems to be able to do 8 Mark 1s, but it does look like it's having a bit of a struggle with that much weight. But considering how light the engine is, it's not really that surprising. Well, I say light. Comparatively to the coaches, it is rather light. So yeah, that's the Farish Class 03 in BR Blue. So it's a very lovely looking engine. For its size, it's quite heavy, but it won't be able to pull 8 Mark 1s, which is a bit too much for it. Probably, I want to be on the safe side and say 5 or 6. But even that much, it's still got a fair amount of pulling power. So do let me know what you think in the comments. Sorry that I did get a bit it's stalled on the inside track. Like I said, I do need to clean my layout a fair amount because I've added third rail, so yeah, I'm going to be cleaning that up for quite some time. So we'll zoom back out, there we go. So yeah, I do like it. I do need to DCC it so I can use it with everything else, and yeah, I'm happy with it. I know it's a bit pricey for its size, but it is die cast, so do let me know what you think anyway. Anyway, I'm going to send it off in its way. Hopefully it won't stall. That's not a fault with, I said it's not a fault with this, it's the fault with my layout, as always. Anyway, hope to see you again next time, and yeah, if you did like it, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, well, I hope you enjoyed it day anyway. And if you do want to support me, feel free to support me on Patreon. And yeah, I'll see you again next time. Bye bye now. I'll send you off. Bye bye.